What's up, everybody?
Hey everybody. This is the more contentious hold on, wait. I'm sorry. More contentious conversations with the bar reloaded. How y'all doing today? I'm doing this early because I got work on the weekdays. Today's show is about I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. Today's show is about, is submission really cooperation? Is cooperation really submission? When people or men specifically ask for cooperation, submission, are they really, really, really asking for cooperation? And when people are asking for cooperation, are they really, really asking for submission? Like, we're going to dive deep into this. Like I said, the show is going to be about, we're going to like debunk or at least go dive deep into some of these myths, some of these facts. We want to bring up some definitions and we're going to talk about this thing, man. We're going to talk about this thing. I'm here with the lovely, lovely Honey Clark, straight from the bar reloaded. No, this is a rarity and a special occasion.
Right, because we don't even do shows. We are now doing this. You want to know why? Because we disagree. That's why. Yeah. We disagree.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, this is gonna be fun.
I mean, we're gonna have a lot of fun. I mean, we're gonna break some things down. I'm gonna start off with my premise on things, because I like to start off with my premise. My premise is this. I learned this word through fucking with people that is above. Above and a beyond fucking approach when it comes down to vocabulary. But my premise is this. I think that submission and cooperation is two different things. Submission means to, yield to an authority, and cooperation means to work towards a common goal. They do not live in the same household. They live in separate houses. And Miss Honey, what's your premise?
Okay, I agree that cooperation is working towards a common goal. I don't know. I kind of disagree with the submission part. I don't think you have to give up something. Like, I don't know. I don't think you have to give up your goal, right, when it comes to submission.
It's yield to authority.
I mean, yeah, but does the authority have to be going like against your mission though?
I mean, it may be going against your mission, because that mission might be the better mission. So are you going to submit to yield to the authority of that goal is way better than yours?
I mean, but then
or like, y'all gonna cooperate to complete both of y'all goals? Like,
but when you're submitting, like, what are you submitting to? Are you submitting to the goal or to the person? Like, that's like
to the person.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know.
Let's pull up the definition, shall we?
Yes, we shall.
We're gonna pull that on up for you guys. We're gonna pull that on up. But back to what I was about to say while she's pulling this up. I think that submission really does mean to submit yourself to that person and the ideals of that person, more so than cooperating towards a goal that y'all probably 9 times out of 10 will bothly share. I think that's more a compatibility thing, where submission, you don't got to be compatible, you don't
have to be compatible.
No, you don't got to be compatible if you submitting. You got to be compatible if you cooperating.
You don't have to be compatible to cooperate.
I said you have to be compatible to cooperate. You don't have to be compatible to submit.
I don't think you do though. Like, to submit, right? If it's not for submission, you're like choosing to be like, okay, like, I'm gonna go with you. I'm going to go with what you're saying. I'm going to follow up under you or something, you know. But with cooperation, I could not like you and deal with you because of the common goal.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could totally not really like you as a person. I could totally not kind of agree with you, but because we're trying to work towards this goal, I can work with you for the moment until we reach that.
So you could work with the person to the moment when you reach the common. That's cooperation. More so,
Yeah, that's cooperation. Yeah, but what I'm saying is you don't necessarily have to like that person or even really mesh with that person to cooperate just to reach whatever goal you're reaching. If y'all have the same goal.
Well, isn't that walking in the lines of not having to be compatible?
I mean, you
to
don't. That's
submit.
what I'm saying. Like, but you do have to be compatible to submit. Like, you have to agree with them on a different kind of plane. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to trust their decision making.
Well, that's what
You
one
know
of the
what I'm
comments
saying?
said. The comment said submission in a relationship is simply trusting you to lead us to a higher plateau.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not cooperation. Like,
That's
it's
not cooperating.
following you. I'm saying you go ahead and make the decisions, and I'm trusting that you have that in your decision making skills. That's on a whole bunch of different levels. Like,
so can we both agree that we do not agree that submission is really cooperation? Are we agreeing that those are two different
yeah, I think they're
situations?
two different things.
Okay.
But I think that people kind of conflate the two in a relationship. Well, when we're looking at what a lot of these men are saying, when they be like, we want cooperation, but they keep explaining submission.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're saying you want cooperation, but you don't. You want submission, but it's almost like a forced submission through cooperation.
Absolutely. Let me see if I can add this in here. Ooh. I want to see. All right, there we go. So I'm gonna just share this screen with y'all. They just kicked me all the way out of StreamYard real quick. All right, so this says, I'm gonna make it. Can I make it across the screen? Exit, full out that, and there we go. No, I want just that on there. There we go. All right, so it says submission, right? Is the act or effect of accepting or yielding to a superior force or the will to a will or of authority of another person. Or I'm gonna say this more clear: the act or effect of accepting or yielding to a superior force or to the will or authority of another person. I'm trying to see if I can make this bigger. Ooh, is it bigger on here?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, girl. I'm gonna slide down a little bit. Yeah, y'all see that? That's big and clear. So I'm gonna pull up cooperation as well. I'm gonna put us back on the screen. I'm gonna pull up cooperation as well, and we're gonna just talk about that for a fact. The fact that it means to accept or yield to a superior force or the will authority of another motherfucker. So we can't just skip past that part. You're surrendering to that person. We're just not going to skip past that part because it says it right there, clear as day. I'm gonna type cooperation in this real quick.
Her ability to choose is what she submits to. Oh, Mel, what?
Okay.
He said when they say that, it means they don't want you challenging everything they say or do. But I mean, when you're dealing with like but that's what I'm saying. Then you want submission, but not cooperation, because cooperation that involves questioning. That involves
Absolutely.
that, because we're trying to get to this goal. We have a common, goal that we're trying to reach, a common thing that we're on. So in trying to do that, you're going to get questions, you're going to get scrutinized, you're going to get all of that because we're just cooperating here. So we're just trying to see what is the better. I'm not submitting to you. So now my input is in on what is the better thing to do here. Why are you making these decisions? I'm not just sitting here trusting you to make a decision for me.
Absolutely. I'm gonna show the next comment. Says this commitment is not the man, not to the relationship, and not even herself, but to their own submission. Her ability to choose is what she submits to. That is consent.
Her ability to choose
To consent.
what she submits to is what you're submitting. You're submitting to your ability to choose what? Your ability to choose what?
Your ability to choose what she submits to. So her ability
Yeah,
to
no, Melvin, you have a you have a crazy definition of submission.
yeah, baby.
And submission can also mean being selfless, accountable, and respectful towards your partner. Nah, that
Eh.
man,
We both was like,
that's cooperation.
That's going to be cooperation. That's going to fall. Well, listen, I'm about to pull that up now. We about to dive deep in there. I'm gonna drop these links. Give me a second. Let me drop these links. What the hell just happened? Something happened as I was exiting out things. I'm gonna drop these links and my honey, don't forget to drop it on your end. I don't know where you at on this. I'm not in the MER method, so you had to drop them links in your end too. Y'all can always click into my StreamYard. I'm at my YouTube, and the links that are in there, and they're also in More Contentious Media Facebook group. I should put one on my page, but I do that later. Anyways, I'm about to pull up this. Let's get into it. All right, it says collaboration, the process of working together to do the same end. So in other words, y'all got the same goal, y'all compatible. If she wants to stay home and you want to work, that is what she wants to do before she met you. It has nothing to do with what you said or you showing leadership. This is cooperation. This is equally yoke. This is what we're talking about. However, right, once you start talking about submission, it brings in a whole nother different dynamic, because submission means this thing right here. So this is what submission means. It's the act or the fact of accepting or yielding to a superior force or to the will of or authority to another person. Like, these have two different meanings. You can't collide two with two because you can't just do that. That's not how that works.
Yeah, you submit. And then it's like I feel like people act like it's a it's a forced thing. Like you can't just, I don't know, you can just choose to submit, right?
Right.
Usually that submission involves a lot of trust, a lot of it involves like you seeing how somebody is and being able to trust their decision making.
How far are we going to trust in this decision making? Like, are we doing total fucking trust? Like, you're picking out
said commitment is all about the commitment. So does cooperation take commitment though? I don't think it does.
Cooperation does take commitment. You have to commit to cooperate. Everything that is
in a relationship, if I'm just cooperating, I don't know, because submission takes time. Like trust in trusting somebody's decision making and trusting them to lead you, trusting them with yourself and your whole, like, I don't know, lifestyle, life or whatever, that takes time to actually trust them. Okay, yeah, trust that they're responsible for you. Yeah, that takes time, right? To trust in somebody's decision making so much so that you don't even think about it. That when they make a decision, you wholeheartedly believe in them and have faith in them that they're making a decision that's good for the both of you.
Of course, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to have questions.
But
That does not mean that you're not
submission
going to have
does bring kind of that.
That you're not
Because
you're not gonna have no questions, you're not gonna have any concerns, you're not gonna have any worries. That's unhuman like. You're just not gonna voice them. Like
that's unhuman like.
Like you're just not gonna voice them. You're gonna submit to not saying shit. That's what you're gonna do. One of the comments says a husband should be your authority. This doesn't mean you're invalid. You just recognize that your man will always make decisions based. I'm gonna say the best decision based on what's best for you and your family.
Right, but what I'm saying is that is true, but that takes time and it takes trust. You know what I'm saying? Cooperation don't take that. It doesn't take time and trust because you're not trusting that person that you're cooperating with all the decisions for yourself. You're just not doing that. So you don't have to cooperate with somebody. Don't take as much time as submission or that much trust.
I think it do take trust. I just don't think it takes that much time because you got to trust that whatever you're cooperating with is the same common goal. It's going to the same thing that you want to do. Let's bring back this situation. We're gonna bring this back up. we gonna bring this back up. Let me change what I'm presenting. I don't know how you do that without stopping presenting, but hey, fudge it. We're gonna bring cooperation back up. I wish you could share like 2 things at one time. I think you got paid more for that. But as a cheap woman, I'm not paying for that. Cooperation is the process of working together. Submission is the process of surrendering to authority to a person. So why is it that in these 2 concepts are we having such a bad time with understanding that maybe that some people want submission, meaning they want to be the authority of you, and some people just want you to cooperate with them. Like, can you give me what the cops ask you for? Because the cops ask you for cooperation. You don't ask you to submit.
They actually ask for submission. I don't care if they say cooperation.
They would not go over and ask the motherfuckers for submission. People gonna be like, no, I don't pay you to have authority over me. That's not what I pay you for. I pay you to protect.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, because that's what I'm saying. But even with submission, you can submit in more than one way.
Do we submit or do we cooperate with employees? Okay, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say we cooperate. We don't submit.
Yeah, we definitely cooperate.
We cooperate. I don't know why y'all think that we submit to employers. We don't. You know how many people quit their jobs because they wasn't submitting, or got better jobs because they wouldn't submit. If you would submit at your job, you would accept any pay.
Mm-hmm.
If you submitted at your job, they could pay you $3 for doing $40 worth of work.
Description.
Yeah, like
shit. Like you
like
I don't know, we don't, and I'm not trusting you with
get jobs that don't even fit the job description. Like,
we're cooperating with the job to go towards the job's common goal.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So if you are if you go and you're a fucking cashier, if you're a cashier, then you're ensuring good customer service. You're saying, okay, I'm going to represent your company in a good way and everything else. However, if somebody get crazy or whatever, you might have to bop them in the head. And oh well, for that, because I would survive. I'm going to protect me because, as we know, these companies don't care about their employees.
They don't care, and most of the employers don't care about the company. Like, I'm not giving the company my life unless they paying me. I mean, everything is an earning system. They earned we earn the money and things of that nature. I don't like when people try to make a relationship an employer / employee / employee type situation. Welcome in E to the stage. Hey E.
Emmanuel? Is that
What's
you?
that?
Yeah, it is. Hey.
No, I don't represent the company neither. Unless I was the company.
But nobody, whoever the Facebook user is, I don't know who that is, but But we're not saying that you're not supposed to represent your man or not supposed to be. We're just saying, what are you actually asking for? Submission or cooperation? Because people are saying that they want cooperation when in fact they're looking for submission.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's not the same thing. It's two different things. You real low.
Yeah, he said Mel said it best. I'm gonna put this on the first grade. What's up, E? Shout out to you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining, Mr. Emmanuel. He said employees are committed to the wage, not to the company. The company knows that. I said they want submission. I mean, you want to feel like you're the authority of something.
Because he's saying that the difference is really in the commitment part. You're saying they want submission. I know they want submission, but they keep saying that they want cooperation. That's not real. You want to be in charge. If you want to be in charge and you're asking, you shouldn't have to ask for submission. That's not, I don't feel like it's something that's asked for.
It's something that is.
If I'm with you and I see that you are good at budgeting, you're good at managing money, you're good at doing that, I will trust in your decision to do that. Right? I will start to just being like, well, shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm always spending my money on, fashion sense and stuff. Here, you know what I'm saying? we Shein shoppers over here. I'm Amazoning it all day and all night. Well, here, you should be in charge of the money because you can.
I want to address something.
I mean, so you start to just see that if he sees that you're good at keeping up with appointments and things, you're going to start being an appointment person. And he's going to depend on the fact that when he has an appointment coming up, you're gonna tell him because you're good at that. It just starts being something that somebody submits to.
He said, if you don't see it, don't do it. Do we stick around? That's what compatibility works in. See, this is why I said what I said in the beginning with submission. It comes across like you guys want submission to be something that is not earned. If trust is earned, submission is definitely earned. And if you want to take that same philosophy and apply it to your protection brothers, please do. Because I don't know why the hell you giving that shit out for free anyway, along with the dick. But that's another conversation for another day. This is never That's a conversation for another day. But all of these things are earned. That's not something you just give out because it's not a birthright.
It says submission and cooperation are earned. I don't know. I don't think that cooperation is earned.
No, I don't think cooperation is earned. Submission has to do with trust. I will agree with that with Mel and Honey. And I will always say trust is earned all day. Yeah. It's not given.
It's like a deep trust, but right. the cooperation to me, it's a surface level trust.
The one said, I would never be with the man that I couldn't completely trust. Well, you got to build that trust to completely trust him. How do you give that shit out?
How long does that take?
Yeah, like that's another question. How long does that take? Is that an initial thing? Does it take?
And then when do you start building the trust? Before or after you say you want to be with them? Is it like y'all just best friends and y'all building up this trust? Because you know what I'm saying. And then because sometimes it's different. It's different when you best friend. Then all of a sudden you get together and they this other person because they treat the person that they're with differently than they treat their friends or family or whatever.
Can we say for people that say, when it comes down to, I mean, women, this is a woman thing. For women that say that it didn't take them that long to trust their man, can we say that that's not a, I don't want to say a philosophy, but that's not, I'm not going to say normal. That's not something, I don't know what you would call that, but I would say that's not a philosophy. I would call that's not a philosophy that I would take and apply that shit to all men that I would date, I would be interested in. Like, I'm not going to trust every man that I may show interest in. It's not going to work like that. That shit takes time. And it's not a short amount of time neither, because you don't know nobody till you know them.
And you gotta trust them on a whole lot of different things. Like, What I might have trusted in this person when my relationship with this other person is going to be different. I don't have that same trust in them and their ability to do this. They're different people. Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of hard.
Yeah, I would say this. It's like I said, that's not something I would apply to it's not a one size fit all situation. In certain situations you can. With certain guys you can. With certain guys you should not. And you gotta share, show, and use that discernment with fucking extreme prejudice in this joint. Like,
Mel, I'm gonna disagree with you here. You see this?
it takes him showing he could be relied upon in a moment
where
when it matters. That
and that
doesn't
doesn't take
take
long.
long. But the key is to continue growing and trust. Whoa, wait a minute. How that doesn't take? So we supposed to have times in life where it matters any given time, like all the time, continuously. Like, that's not a good person to be around.
Listen, it's been plenty of people, especially when I was younger. I don't need people for much. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how you're going to respond to me in a time of need until I'm actually in a time of need. Right. So like, you could be talking that good stuff about how you gonna be there, you there, you down, you this, that, and the other, and then here it comes a time for you to show improve, and we 8 months in, and you're not showing up. Like, and then
love y'all, but y'all making it more difficult than it need be. Is Mrs. Phil? Oh, hey Jess. I mean, I don't think it's more difficult than it need be when you're looking at it out of different eyes. You get what I'm saying? When you looking at it in a single woman's eyes versus a woman that already found her love, you're going to think about it totally different ways. You're going to think about it from the way that you love your man, not the way that women love men. Or women go how we seek out for men. And then there's the generational situation. It's the way that the social climate is right now. It's a whole bunch of different details and degrees that we ain't even getting into.
Hold on, y'all. Keisha. Emmanuel said trust isn't earned.
Word?
He said it's a choice.
Word?
What you got to say to that, Keisha?
Is it a choice to trust? Everything is a choice. So that's a vague statement. It's a choice to look at you. It's a choice to know you. It's a choice to talk. But in deep trust, it's not a choice. It's more, I would say that shit is more of an emotion. More of a feeling. Shit, maybe more spiritual. Nigga touch your soul.
So Mel keeps trying to make this about commitment. I don't know. Trust, I disagree. I disagree with E. I think that it is definitely earned.
The trust is earned, baby.
But I don't know.
But I think it's a choice too. Like, that's a real sticky situation. Like, why you give us that double-edged sword like that?
Because, like, say somebody has trust issues, right? Or if they have any kind of traumatic thing, with their trust, regardless of how much this person has been there, because of their past, they will always have some kind of doubt. They will have to actually let go. They would have to choose to let go in order to trust.
Like, they choose to drop that guard.
Yeah. Choose to trust.
So is the choice in the earning? Is the choice to let go?
No, because most women choose to trust depending on how they feel about a person.
I hate that he threw a monkey wrench in this shit. I don't appreciate I don't appreciate that at all.
Because now it's like, dang, do you choose to trust?
Do you choose to trust you?
Because you choose to submit. You choose to submit.
You choose to submit.
I think because you give up. You. I don't know. It's something about whatever this person is doing. It is something about that that makes you choose and that makes you trust in their decision making. and trust them with whatever it is that you're submitting to them for. Whatever you're submitting to them for, you trust in their decision making on that specific topic.
How do you choose to trust? I just don't understand it. It sounds like such an oxymoron.
Oh, Timotheus. He said, so y'all saying that if you trust someone, then that's a form of submission. I think it kind of is.
It is. And that shit works on both ways. So I don't know how men gonna feel about that. Because if you trust your wife, you submit and nigga.
Maybe if I have little questions here and there, I'm like, okay.
But
I'm just saying. I mean, I
well,
would
if
agree
you
to
trust
that.
somebody, you do submit kind of because you're
I would agree to that one.
yeah, because you're giving into them. Like you're saying that you believe in them. You believe in what they're gonna do.
Absolutely. I mean, I think submission. Okay. If we're talking about submission outside of cooperation, I do think in most relationships, whether men want to like admit it or not, that we both do submit in many different ways, but it's still a form of male submission and female submission. So we do submit to each other. Now, I think when we have this conversation and we're talking about the forms of submission amongst the two sexes, is always looked down upon the male species because y'all look at subs as the weaker one, which most humans wouldn't want to be the weaker one. So that would make a woman like moi really shy away from that title, because basically I don't want to be meek, I don't want to be docile, and I don't want to feel like anyone has authority over me. Sorry, I still got that slave trauma.
Just trust someone. There's levels.
Okay, so my daughter is here with me, and she's a teenager. So she's saying like when we're saying trust, we're acting like trust is like a one level thing. Like there isn't levels to trust. Like you can trust somebody with one thing, but not trust them with your body, or not trust them with your household, or not trust them with your kids, or not trust them with, you don't say your money, but you trust them a little bit.
Or you trust them in an area like with your money, but not with your kids.
Yeah. Like you can trust, it's different levels to trust.
Like I trust saying a secret to you, but I don't trust you meeting my kids. I can trust being around you, but I don't trust you with my body. So it's like levels to trust. Are y'all talking about those, or are you just saying you just trust them with everything?
Well, I guess that's blind trust versus what?
Well, no, I think it's just levels to it. I might be, yeah. Okay, so it's levels to submission as well.
It's levels to submission. It's levels to trust. We're going to touch and agree on that. And to just, I'm just going, when I said docile and meek, I'm going off of the definition of what submission is and not what people
say submission is.
Submission is.
But it is docile and meek. If somebody had, like, say somebody, when you submitted to somebody, you are not coming at them in a way that is aggressive at all. Even if you question them, because you're still kind of seeing them as an authority. Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I could be both, you know that I'm a bratty sub. I can be very submissive, but at the same time, I can be very masculine, depending on who I'm talking to. If you haven't submitted me, I don't respect you in that regard, man. You could be 300 B words. Whereas somebody who has earned that to me, and I am respecting their authority on whatever the topic is, or respecting their authority over me, I'm not going to be calling them a bunch of bees, but I might respectfully disagree with them, or respectfully ask a question because I don't understand the like where they're going or how they're moving.
Absolutely. They choose. Emmanuel says they choose to trust without it being earned. I'm gonna always stand on 10 toes down, 10 toes deep on trust being earned. And I think it's an oxymoron to think it's just a choice. Like, and with the young lady said in the background, that it's just surface level like that, like it's an on and off switch like that. I think it's levels of trust. I think that certain levels, or maybe just the first level of trust, is a choice, but the other ones are earned. To better, explain that. But to say it as an overall, a general statement, yeah, that's going to become an oxymoron in many different ways once you break that shit down. Like the young lady in Honey did. Submission brats can be aggressive but still commit to their dom. Honey is a submissive brat. For me, I'm straight up dom. I don't even
And
know how
she
to.
hates that part. I just want you to know that she cannot stand it when I get to that point.
She be in the
What is
nerves.
wrong with you?
Why would you say that in front of everybody? Like, we ain't gonna never hear the end of that shit.
You can't.
Like, you women said.
You could choose to bend the knee too, right?
Absolutely.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a different thing. Like trusting something.
I wish your mic worked too. What's up with your mic? What you on mute? Crazy? Unmute yourself. Matter of fact, I'm about to unmute you. Can't unmute your guests because they choose to mute themselves. Okay. Oh, you so low.
Real low.
Hold on, wait a minute. Let me see if I can fix that on my end. I might could turn you up. I could turn you up more loudly than you would normally be turned up. Why is it not letting me turn you up? Are you on a computer or something? Oh, it shouldn't matter. It should let me turn you up though. Can you leave and come back in? Like we could barely hear. Even when we be quiet, we could barely hear you. So leave and come back in. Let me see if I can fix that. Because I could turn people down. It was people that was on my joint. It was loud as shit. I was like, yo, I'm turning this nigga down. Like, he is super loud.
I'm done with you. But Melvin said,
I found you. Never mind. No, can you speak now?
It's a choice to submit.
Still low.
Take your hand from under the bottom of your phone. If you got an iPhone, you can't cover the bottom of it.
Shit, if you got an iPhone, you might want to get off a speaker.
The new one, the new one is like if you put your hand on the bottom like you're holding it, it won't let you hear.
Yeah, and I turned your mic all the way up. And I'm going to reduce your background noise too.
Oh, he said it's his headset.
Oh, suck.
We got one of them trucker headsets that don't work.
You suck.
But submitting, Melvin, you choose to submit anyway. It should always be. If you are not submitting by choice, then it's by fear. I don't think that should be called submission.
Yeah, we're gonna say that slavery, that's what we're gonna name it, and we're gonna label it, we're gonna keep it there. But I think as long as one has a negative thought on submission and they try to tell the other party to submit, they will always have a little fight, or you will have the opposite there, just submit,
But I think always against telling them to submit. I feel like you should go into a relationship asking for cooperation. Clearly, you all are not even I don't know if it should be cooperation. I don't even know.
Why not? Y'all working towards a common goal. So it should be, you should start, a woman should start the relationship with cooperation and end that bitch with submission. I mean, in my point of view. He said you missed my point. Yeah, y'all missed my whole point. And bending the knee is a choice to submit. Men submit in different ways that women submit. There's no way of getting around that. Men submit in ways by bending the knee, by actually doing things of they love language for their woman. I mean, shit, they might let her have her way that day. Like, y'all submit in different ways. I don't know how to like textbook. Honey probably have more ways of putting that shit in a more textbook type of form. But for me, I'm gonna just say what it is. We both submit to each other in relationships. You know, most men don't like that word submission. I don't know why. If you don't like it, she would like it. If you don't like it, she ain't gonna like it neither.
Our relationship.
That's just how it goes.
I
What
think
makes you think
that's
someone is gonna like some shit you don't like?
So my daughter has another question.
Yes.
We're talking about submission, and she's saying, so, I mean, can they both just submit to each other in a relationship, meaning they're both trusting each other with these things, which in a relationship, you do both submit in some ways. But usually when they are talking about these like things, I think submission, when they feel like submission, they feel like one person is taking the lead.
Right.
Most of the time.
That's not cooperation.
Predominantly of the time, that person is taking the lead.
Right.
And most women that are submissive will say predominantly he's taking the lead. But I just think, in my opinion, they're taking the lead in like bills, who goes to work. You know, if he say, yo, listen, I want red drapes. I don't like black ones or blue ones. He probably going to get those red drapes. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if men compromise when they are in full authority. Is there any compromise in the authority? If that's what your daughter is asking. But it just kind of seemed like, or come off in a way that I take it under consideration more so than a compromise.
So it's submission.
No. Timothy is saying cooperation means that both people are submitting to each other.
Cooperation means both people are submitting to each other. So what is fully submitting?
I don't know. That's not even what I mean.
In a way, it could be that way.
Cooperation said the process of working together to the same end. Assistance, especially by ready compliance with requests.
I mean, like, the second one could definitely mean
we would like to ask for your cooperation in the survey. Right.
As a choice, do you want to cooperate? But to say that, to ask me to submit to you is not really a request. It's a command or demand.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I would think.
And cooperation, I just don't. Because you're saying cooperation means submitting to each other. I don't know. Because there's any time that you agree with something or go with something, you're submitting. I don't feel like that's that, because I could cooperate with somebody who I don't like you. I don't trust you in this regard. The only thing that I'm trusting is that we have the same goal in mind. No, you don't submit to their request.
He said, if you agree to take the survey, then you submit to their request.
No, right? Because it's somewhere in submission, there's an authority.
Yeah, somewhere in the process of submitting, you're submitting to an authority. In a request, there's no authority in a
There's
question.
No authority here. Like, you're not there. When submission involves an authority, something that you're deeming to be an authority.
I would like to welcome LV to the stage. Thank you, LV, for coming and joining us today.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
hey, it's LV. Hey.
What's up? Yeah, man. What's going on?
Not much.
Not much. How you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. I'm just loving life right now, seeing the ladies getting active.
Yeah, having a pretty good conversation. I mean, I appreciate your support, and I appreciate you coming on this stage right now. What is your thoughts on, is submission really cooperation?
Is submission cooperation? I would say yeah, but it's what you're submitting to and what you're cooperating with. Um, it is ideal to have cooperation with the people you work with, whether it's a job, your family, which is your first order of business, and just any other mundane thing that you can actually think of. You want it to cooperate with you in a certain degree. Now, submission can bring about cooperation, or matter of fact, if someone is being submissive, they might pretty much they are cooperating, but is all forms of submission cooperation? I would say no. I would say no. It just depends because one can do what you say, but not really have their heart into it, not really want to do it, or not give their best self forward, but yet they're still submitting to do what you ask. So you may not get the same type of effort based on how you're telling someone they must cooperate. And that's I think that's a little nuance there. It's how someone is cooperating and what they're cooperating with. We all submissive to a degree. I'm submissive to my boss. I don't tell him what the fuck to do. I'm submissive to a lot of different things. You know, when my bank tells me that they're closed on Saturday or Sunday, there's nothing I can do to convince them otherwise. I have to
Mhm.
submit to that. So it's really it what you're submitting to. You know what I mean? And I would advocate for people to submit themselves to what they truly believe or where they can see true benefit.
Yeah, I agree.
I would
True
agree
Yeah,
that.
benefit.
because the abusive and I land here, the abusive person wants you to submit for nothing. And that's the problem. Submission comes with a cost. What are you providing that makes me stop what I want to do what you demand or decree?
So he do agree with me. It is a command and a demand, and the fine lines of the act of submission, or the request, or the demand, or the expectation of the. I could say there is a command and a demand and an expectation of submit. If someone wanting submission, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you need submission in order to achieve whatever it is you're doing. It's just, some people want submission so they can have more beer, or that's so that they can, not be questioned with what they're doing. Others demand submission because they have real life plans or they have real life ideas with a high expectation of success that transcends what an average person can do by themselves. No one man can, okay, let's say it like this. I'm one man, I have a lady, I go to work, we feed our family. Versus the man who is not just a man, but he is the head or control of something valuable, whether it's a company, whether it's a this, whether it's a that. They got something going on, and they demand certain things in return for them to, bring people in to what they already have going on. So it just depends.
I agree. I agree with what Honey's daughter said, where it's levels to submission. I agree that you will submit in many forms in life to many things in life and cooperate with many things in life. However, I do agree that what someone said, I think that was Timothy, is that in Jessica, that we both as men and women in a relationship kind of submit to each other, just not in the same ways. And it's probably would never be in the same ways. And some of it may be just in the form of what is it, reciprocity, in a form of that. So being showing reciprocation, is nothing wrong with that. If your woman cook for you and you want to cook for her, it's not a gender role if you don't make it that. And if you want to make it that, that's fine as well. It's no one way to skin this cat. You skin this mug any type of ways you want, sideways, backwards, diagonal, however you want to do it, whatever you choose to. But I did want to have a show today. I'm gonna wrap it up right here because this is like a perfect good mark to wrap this up. I did want to have a show where we kind of like have a conversation and discuss it out of what our expectations are is submission, what our thoughts on submission and the actual definition of the word cooperation and submission versus how we treat the word cooperation and submission in a relationship. And get some better thoughts on that. Honey, what you?
Nothing. I'm looking at Timothy and it's just wrong. When you're talking about a man wanting a woman to submit, once again, I just don't feel like submission is something you should ask for. I feel like it's something that you will receive upon her feeling like she could trust you, or him feeling like that he could trust you. To ask somebody to submit is crazy to me. Requesting temporary authority, no, if that's insane, I'm sorry, no. You can ask for cooperation. I don't feel like you could be asking for submission.
That's like asking for trust, right?
Yeah, that's
no.
No.
Hell no. Submission ain't like asking for trust.
Oh well, LV, let me ask you: is submission? Is submission?
What are you asking?
Is submission like trust for you? Is it synonymous with each other? Submission and trust?
I'm looking at the definition of submission. It says the action or fact of accepting or yielding to a superior force or to the will or authority of another person. I see authority, I see the will of, I see a superior force in accepting the fact or yielding. No, that is, I mean, a good form of submission is you submitting to what the truth is. I can say that, but they are not synonymous. Submission and truth are not the same thing. What happens when a person is submissive? Trust. Submission and trust. No, they're not the same thing. One does not require trust in order for you to submit. People don't trust the government, but they have superior force. Thus, people submit to judgments in courts. Officer will lock you up because they can respond in superior force, but that doesn't mean you trust them. Of course not. Now, you would want trust to be established to whom you are submitting to. That would be conducive for you, but no, they are not synonymous.
Okay, but in all those things that you named, we do put trust in those things. We put trust in the government. We put trust. What were you saying? My daughter was saying, like, when you said you submit to your boss, like, you trust that he's going to pay you for your hours. You trust that he's going to provide a safe working environment. Like, we do put trust in those things that we are so-called submitting to. Because when people
once again
trust into it, then they stop submitting to it, and it becomes all kinds of unrest, civil unrest.
Well, what about the superior force part? If someone is using superior force to make you submit, how does that make you trust them? You have to explain that part. It has to, for it, the word to be synonymous, it has to be uniform. It cannot agree with it over here, then disagree with it over there. So once again, I'll just land here, I'm using a government or whatever, superior force versus an individual. Are you saying that person who is experiencing superior force has to trust the superior force?
But I mean, what they do?
I'm asking you. I'm sorry. Somebody called me. I couldn't even hear you. Can you say it again?
Oh, like, hold on. Say your question again, because you're talking about the authority and the force. But
no. Submission. The definition of submission, right. It has qualifiers. It says superior force. I can use superior force to make you submit. Your
Yeah, but
government can use, well, I'm about to land here because well, for it to be synonymous, it has to be uniform. It has to apply unilaterally. If I can bring one example to where submission does not involve trust, then that's not true. So if a government or a police officer has more superior force than you and they make you do something, that doesn't mean you trust them. They're not synonymous.
but then you're using it in like two different ways though. Like those are two different kinds of submission. If the Russian army, makes Ukraine submit to them, right? That's a different kind of submission than me submitting to my husband.
Well, there's only one definition of submission, and it can be applied in many different contexts. But the definition will always be the same. And when you say synonymous, that means at the best similar or identical. So once again, like it gives you qualifying markers for what submission is. I'll read it one more time.
Then qualifying markers also it depends on the context too. Because when
Well,
you're
yeah,
talking
I'm
about
giving.
submission, that's different than submitting at will.
Well, your husband could be superior than you versus his resources. What if he's a police chief? What if he's a high level politician? What if he has millions of dollars and you do not? This can be viewed as superior, and then someone can submit to it, but that doesn't mean you trust it. That doesn't mean you trust the person.
Right. So then we're looking at somebody who's choosing submission, right? We're choosing submission in a relationship with somebody to whoever, when you're choosing to submit, right? And you're
Hmm.
deeming that person an authority figure or in
Hmm.
some way. You don't feel like that involves you trusting them in some way because you deem them as an authority figure.
It can, for sure. But everyone doesn't
Which is
fall
just
underneath those qualifications. But if we're talking relationship, I would say trust it would behoove you to incorporate trust in your submission. It's hard to get desired results or even move forward with people that you don't trust. So I do think that trust plays a key in someone deciding to submit themselves. I think they trust you, then they submit. If we're talking relationships,
yeah. Well, but then okay, so then we also had the trusting. Me and Morphine was saying that you earn trust, and then somebody else was saying that you kind of you choose to trust, right? Like somebody can't necessarily always earn trust. You choose to trust them.
yeah, I choose to trust my job because of track record with other jobs. I know once I work for a week, I get a paycheck. I trust that process. I trust it. You get what I'm saying? But it doesn't. It isn't. I've worked for jobs where I got burnt and didn't get a check, or it was under, or it was over. So the trust, it like I said, it's one of those conditions that prompts your decision making. Now, how do you like? Do you have to have trust, or how do you acquire trust? Well, some people earn it through their deeds towards another person or what someone has observed them do. Others trust people just because I seen their face on TV. He's famous, or he's a sports player and he's recognizable. People trust for all different type of reasons. I trust my newsman because I've seen him there for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Like he's vested, but that doesn't mean they're telling me the truth. So it's a fine line. I think trust should be earned. Unfortunately, we live in a world to where I could say the right thing on TikTok and earn your trust, and ain't none of it got to be true.
Well, I'm gonna end the show right here because we at the
Man,
we at the hour mark.
Oh, we gotta do it too. We never got the male's commitment.
All right, well, let's cover that for a good 2 minutes. I let it go over 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I'm gonna bring up the definition of commitment real quick. Let me bring that up because I got that in the share screen. So here's commitment. Now, Mel might be a little right about this. Let me take this banner down so we could read this properly. So it says commitment, the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause, activity, etc. An engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action.
Hmm. Oh shit! I think that commitment was what he wanted.
Maybe he was a little right, you know. What do we think, people? What do we think about this?
I think
Commitment. The state of quality of being dedicated to a cause, activity, etc. Obviously, commitment would be okay. And let me I want to look at the root word commit.
So they're looking for commitment, not even cooperation?
Yeah.
No, he said we gotta look up commitment.
Yeah, commitment to me, I mean, the definition is clear, but I guess for an example is how much effort over time are you willing to give to something? And that would be fundamentally commitment. And if we're talking relationships and you're trying to see how someone's committed or will they commit, once again, it's those things, these key definitions that you guys are talking about. Trust, submission, like, these things have to be talked about before someone submits.
Yeah.
Before,
okay.
like because a submission is something you have to commit to. So before you do any of that, you have to already unpack the lines of truth, expectations of finance. You feel me? Rules of engagement, and we don't do that a lot of times in relationships. We have this. We get together and we just expect people to, you know what I mean, come from where you come from and expect them to see life the way you do. Nah, y'all have to sit down, come together with the rules of engagements clearly, and then I think the submission part can happen at that point. But I don't really even advocate for that shit because niggas be submitting and then 40 years later, niggas or females will jump ship and one half of the party be fucked up. And it's like you done gave your life building another motherfucker or they dream or what they had, and you ain't really take care of yourself. You feel what I'm saying? And this happens all the time.
But you can.
It's damn near like religion. You feel what I'm saying? Like you can service that church for 20 years and be broke as fuck at the end of the 20 years, but the church bank account is hefty. Then you say, well, I don't know if God's a male. You kicked out the church regardless of how much money you gave. It's like a relationship. Whoever has the power and authority, the moment they decide they want to go a different direction, what does that mean for the person who submits?
That was deep, brother. That was deep. I think baby girl in the background had a little question.
No, go ahead. She's trying to understand these things.
I think it's levels to this thing. I'm not going to say it once, but I'm going to say it twice, and I'm going to keep saying it all show long. It is levels to this thing. It's levels to submission. Excuse me. It's levels to cooperation. It's levels to commitment. We have a lot of commitments in life that is not at the same level of commitment as a marriage, a committed relationship, a LTR, which is long-term relationship for those that don't know.
So then
so there's no blanket. You can't blanket statement commitment. You cannot blanket statement submission. You cannot blanket statement cooperation.
So
there's levels to that.
You should be there to be submissive.
Yes.
And if I'm not,
she's trying to say basically that how we get toxic relationships, basically because now we have brought all these definitions up here. So, and looking at them, she's saying like, okay, so when we're bringing in the commitment, you need the commitment to be submissive, right? You needed the cooperation to get the commitment. You need the commitment to be submissive. But then at some point, when you no longer are committed to that person, or you feel some type of way, right? You stop the commitment when people start cheating, when people start going outside of the relationship, when they start doing other stuff. You stop the commitment, which means that you also stop the submission, but then you're still together and you have this toxic relationship that goes on. And that's how we get the toxicity, because we're not even asking for the right things or looking for the right things to begin with.
Yeah. That brings me back to the compatibility situation that I was saying, where you gotta make sure that your ass is one compatible for any of all this shit. And I still think,
Do you
and
have to? I don't think you got to be compatible.
I do
You
think you
don't have to
gotta
be
be compatible
to have this common things, to have a common goal.
You have to have some type of compatibility to have a common goal. Like, there is no way you're going to be able to reach submission or reach trust if y'all don't have anything in common in y'all goals.
But I don't know. I don't, because I can work with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Towards a goal, just like how back in the day, they're like marriages. Their marriages used to be like business contract. Like you have wifely duties, you have husband duties, you have mother duties and father duties, and y'all just did your duties together because the common goal was the household.
That was the compatibility and those gender roles. She had to be compatible for wifely duties. He had to be compatible for husband duties. There is no incompatibility to do this shit. How would you do this and still be successful in doing it if you're not compatible for that job? That's like someone putting me on a bus and telling me to drive that mug, knowing I don't know how to drive. I am not compatible for this job. So you shouldn't trust me to drive this bus correctly, because I ain't compatible for this shit. I'm just saying. I could cooperate, but I ain't compatible. Mr. Clubhouse, LV, what you think?
Yeah, it will behoove you to be compatible, but compatibility, people approach it. My mic is all the way over here. I'm tripping. Let me get on my podcast and shit. I don't know what am I doing right now, honey. I'm slacking. I'm sorry. Let me get right. Oh, y'all can hear me, right?
We can hear you. You know you can share. Can you share your links in here? Can you click that little? We all sharing our links at the top of the StreamYard.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Come on now, put us everywhere, baby. Put us everywhere.
Oh, that's my specialty. That's a fact.
Right.
So, let's go to, what was the word we were dealing with?
We're dealing with commitment and submission and cooperation. We wrapping the show up with those three.
Yeah. It just, compatibility. Okay, yeah, that was the word.
That was the word, compatibility.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this: compatibility. People will approach this in different ways. Some people want people to be compatible in a financial sense. Some people want people to be compatible in a emotional sense. Some people want to be compatible within like you say, activities, like mutual interest. And these are three different areas that I see people getting together, whether like a famous person does it because of this, that person does it because of this mundane thing, whatever the case may be. Compatibility is important. You have to be able to, I'm not going to say see yourself with this person, but you have to see where they fit in your get down. Because if you're not able to do what makes you happy, you're not going to be happy. So there's a and like Honey was talking about, when you talk about marriage, that's a contract. You come into an agreement, and when you come into contract and you're making agreements, you would expect both parties to compromise in order to get the desired result. So a lot of compatibility are being held up on certain metrics. We love going to the movies. I love music. We love sleeping late. We love being a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? These are the things that we hold on to, and then we may excuse or give grace to other things that we dislike about a person in order to make it work. So that compatibility is
In
important.
harmony.
Yeah, there's certain things that you can do without, and there's certain things that are just standard, and people gonna have to fit within it, and that's where the compatibility comes in. I don't like wrestling, or you know what I'm saying, or I don't like you know what I mean. I don't like chicken. I don't eat chicken, and I don't want a girl who's constantly making chicken tenders in the house. You get what I'm saying? Got to be compatible.
What?
Gotta be
couldn't live
compatible.
with
Let's dive into this definition of compatibility. Compatibility, the natural ability to live or work together in harmony because of well-matched characteristics. 2, the quality or fact or being in agreement. Consistency. Is that going on? My reading out loud skills was the shit
Yeah.
today.
I mean,
Come on,
I can be
StreamYard. Don't do this
compatible
to
with
me.
you
Come back
on just that
Come
front, though. Gotta be compatible. Please.
You gotta
No,
be
no, I can be
compatible,
compatible
you
with
know.
you in some regard and not in others, though. Like, so then.
Yeah, that
He was
compatibility
like, I don't
has
like
its
you kicking chicken
limitations.
tenders. What about if I don't like this shit? We not compatible because all the fuck you know how to do is cook chicken tenders.
Because that's just like if I don't like
all you know how to cook.
if I don't like chicken tenders, but he does, right? But I like money and he make a lot of it and we make a lot of it together. I might sacrifice not liking chicken tenders because the common goal that we have is worth more to me than you cooking chicken tenders.
Right. But if that person, let's just say they didn't like it, they're allergic to chicken. See, now that's a whole different nuance. Chicken is still involved, but I'm allergic. I'm not about to be taking a shot every day because you want chicken tenders. We can, and it doesn't matter if your car is nice. I'm gonna pass. We're not compatible. And then the compatibility changes because what a person wants changes. And that's another thing that we don't understand. Well, I'm not gonna say we don't understand in relationships. Things are subject to change. How a person feels, what they want for themselves, the direction that they choose to focus their time in. These things are subject to change,
baby.
and that changes compatibility.
But then that's the reason why I say you should be committed to like a goal or the relationship and not the person. Because regardless of the person changes, if our goals don't change, if our relationship doesn't change, then we should be good. If I'm committed to you as a person, then yes, you changing is going to change my commitment. But if I'm committed to our goal of having this household, having this relationship, this marriage or whatever, then regardless of your changing, you can change as a person as long as our goals still are the same.
As long as the change is not drastic enough to shift from the goal and to put any of us there in danger. You know, somebody marries their husband and he was a square. 10 years down the line, now he murdered people. That shit changes. You know, you find that out. Like, you might not even want to rock the homie no more. But people develop who they are over time. So even if you're meeting a person at 22, his experiences is taking him, is creating who he is. But he could be completely different at 45 to 60. What he wants can change. What a woman wants can change. You know, maybe she wants a thug in her 20s. Maturity comes around. Maybe she wants a blue collar person. The compatibility starts changing based on what we actually want.
I agree. I'm not going to disagree with that. I'm agree with that. That makes total sense. That's very rational. It's very logical. Like I said, people, you cannot make blanket statements about things because there's levels to this shit, man. They make music about this. They made a song. Y'all should listen to it.
Right. When people keep telling you,
can I read video to show up now?
Oh, my
we had 11. We had an hour.
We gotta go now. We gotta do another one. We'll be back, y'all. Part 2.
Part 2 coming up. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you for listening. I totally enjoyed this show, and we're going to do many more with our loaded And this is Market Teachers Media along with Clubhouse Streets, and we are